Sodies. Nice.
Can't stop drinking sodies. Okay, we've got intro news, kudos, rundown, dice, and we're out. Yeah.
Good. Easy. Yeah. All right. Whenever you're ready.
On this week's Sode, Ubisoft is falling apart. The last Simpsons game made gets pulled down, and California wants you to know when you don't actually own your games. Then we review Drill Core.
Dillcore. I was really hoping you would say Dillcore. Like you were right
did.
there. You were right there.
I was so close. This week's Sode, Ubisoft is falling apart. The last Simpsons game that was made gets pulled down, and California wants you to know when you don't actually own your games. Later, we review Drill Core, and I speed through Sonic Frontiers in Dice of Destiny. You just logged into the 3-Bit Gamer Show. Welcome to the 3-Bit Gamer Show. I'm JD.
And this is Peterson.
And
we've been drilling.
So much drilling.
I'm going to make a lot of drilling jokes today. That's my prediction.
Yeah.
We're going to drill this episode hard.
We're getting in this episode's hole. Wait.
You took it. No, I had it at this level. You took it too far.
Can we edit that?
Nope. That's good.
We'll just drill it out.
That was my favorite thing you've said in months. I'm not taking that out. I loved that so much.
We're just going to play it on loop. Buckle up. You're going to hate it. Live from the 3-Bit Gamer Show. The news. All right, our news this week is brought to us by Crave Cookies.
Crave!
Go to Crave Cookies and you can check out their weekly menu. The cookies they have available right now at a Crave near you. You can check them out on their app or their website or DoorDash or Uber Eats if you're feeling nasty. So the cool thing, though, is that we are going to tell you the next week's menu right now. It's not out yet. It's not out till Friday, but you're going to know right now.
I have a real bad sweet tooth right now, too. So I'm like looking at their current menu and I'm like, I want to eat every single one of these. So now tell me what else I want to eat now.
It's going to get worse. Next week, still, we've got the Carmelita, which is the oatmeal caramel cookie. That's our monthly. It's so good, you guys. I just make it and don't even put the caramel drizzle on top because it's just such a choice caramel cookie. Or I'm sorry, an oatmeal cookie. It's just super good. We've also got the pumpkin cinnarole, the Muddy Buddy. This is kind of a newer take. I think they've updated the recipe on the Muddy Buddy.
Nice.
Awesome. The triple chocolate chunk.
Wait, is that new?
I don't think so, but I can't
That's
remember. It's new. They haven't had it for the last 8 months. I'll tell you that much. Okay. And then the cold cookie is the coconut cream pie.
Good one. That one's always good.
Pretty solid.
Yeah. I am mad I didn't get the oatmeal cookie with the icing on it.
You have no idea how amazing that cookie is. I mean, it's still. Wait, yeah, no, that's this week.
We got it. It's going right now.
It's going right now. No, you need to go get it because you know those iced oatmeal cookies. It looks exactly like those, but it's like a big chewy version of those.
It's soft. I know.
Dude,
I wasn't. You got a sweet tooth right now, and now I'm like. My mouth is literally watering.
Dude, I made that. I made the dough. I baked it. I decorated it. And I was like, it was like one of those cookies. After I was done, like decorating, I stood back. I was like, oh my God, look how good that fucking looks.
Like,
there's a couple of them.
Am I an artist now?
Yeah, I just follow the recipe exactly. And then I stand back. I'm like, that worked out really well. Way to go. Well, everyone's going to be really lucky. Yeah, no, that one.
You turn around to high five someone in the early teenager that works there's on their phone ignoring you. So
absolutely. Why are they always on their phone? They're always on their fucking phones. I'll make the cookies. They can check their TikToks. It's fine. I don't really care. I'll just do their job too. All right. So that's it. Go to Crave Cookies. Slap 5 with the teens. Send them a TikTok. And get your cookie on. California demands a new warning label, this time to tell gamers when they don't actually own the games they buy. Hey, it's a good one. I mean, they usually are. Like, you're going to get super cancer and die if you eat this. Thanks, California. Looking out for the rest of us.
If you go here, you're going to get cancer.
Yeah.
If you look at this thing, that's if
you wear these
California,
shoes, these shoes are known in the state of California to give you bad cancer. And
if
we're
you've
all
been to
out
California, that those labels are on literally everywhere you look. And so you just start to ignore them. So they've honestly, like, their purpose is useless now because you just ignore the cancer label.
Like, I'm getting it everywhere. Wow. I'm not like wrapping my head around that everything is causing me cancer. I'm just kind of annoyed.
You're like, I only
telling
seen
me
this
about
in
it.
California, so maybe it's California is the problem.
What's wrong with this stinky state? So this was a state law that was passed last week, and it concerns all digital storefronts, and it bans companies from using the words buy or purchase along with a bunch of, other. So, they can't just like sneakily word around this. Basically, you can't use misleading language to imply people own digital products that you have sold them when they do not, in fact, own the product. They own some sort of form of license that they don't have any control over the agreement. Probably checked a box somewhere along the lines that said they're, go into forced arbitration if you really want that, that copy of The Rock that you purchased. But yeah, I don't know. So this is cool. Like you said, I don't know if it'll have any measurable impact. There was a research group that was cited in this article that found numerous occasions, or you could just listen to the podcast, podcast, and we would tell you
a bunch
how often people lose access to their digital products that they bought, and they just go poof. I don't know if this will have much of an impact. I do have a feeling it'll be a little interesting to see. I'm mostly interested to see what all the companies choose for their buttons to say. If they can't say buy, if they can't say purchase,
spend money now.
Yeah. What are they gonna
here?
What is it gonna say when you try to buy a movie on Amazon.com or Amazon Prime or whatever, Prime Video, and you try to rent or buy and you go to buy? It won't say buy. It'll say
license. It'll say,
what's it gonna fucking say? It's funny. This used to be my job, but now I make cookies, so I don't give a fuck. You other idiot content designers at Amazon gonna noodle this one out before you get laid off by the return to work order. It sucks out there.
I wonder, because it does feel like there's especially in gamers, right? There's a subset of gamers who always are surprised when they learn that they don't actually own any of their games.
Yeah.
And we've talked about like the Steam library thing. What happens to your Steam library when you die? Because you don't own those games. You just have a license to play the digital version of that game. And so it'd be interesting to see if this, if people start scratching their heads and really start getting into this,
will this stop anyone from buying the game?
I don't think it'll stop anything. Will this lead most likely this leads to nothing, right? Most likely,
other than the updated buttons. I'm telling you, the buttons are going to be a huge impact. It's going to look fucking weird.
Yeah, it will.
They're going to have to use weird language or really long buttons that have multiple words on them, which is
it's just like the money symbol.
Honestly, yeah, maybe
dollar
if they
symbol?
can get away with using that, they just use them. You just click the money button. We're heading back to hieroglyphics.
Obtain here,
Egyptian language.
Yeah,
here where we just speak in symbols.
Yeah. So in an ideal world, this would be the catalyst for hey, let's make sure these people do own this game. They truly own this somehow, but that's not going to happen.
We know better.
That's an ideal world. That's not going to happen. I know. Okay.
We live in.
Why did I even bring it up? I don't even know why I said
lived in an ideal world ever.
What do you mean?
The 90s were pretty good, though.
I mean, besides all of the open racism and stuff like that. Like
Yeah.
things were pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good being a white guy in the 90s.
Yeah, white.
We had it dialed in.
It was so easy, you guys. You have no idea.
Cocaine was everywhere. As their stock price plummets, Ubisoft's board has launched an investigation into how they can make shareholders more money.
That's
Guys,
number
good
one.
looking out.
Yeah.
Good heads up play. Ubisoft, you may have heard, is having possibly the worst week anyone's had since, I don't know, Trump got shot in the ear and Joe Biden dropped out. He was like, what the fuck? So Ubisoft revealed in their latest financial statement that they, quote, acknowledge the need for greater efficiency while delighting players. I don't understand how you could put those two in the same sentence and feel good about it. The greater efficiency while delighting players. God, those are two separate things. And conflating them makes me really worried. You're like, how can we make people happy without them noticing how much we're degrading our products? So they're opening an investigation into how they can make shareholders more money. That's basically what it was.
Opening an investigation into how they can do
this. That's like,
That's...
I mean, the headline of this article was not at all what the statement said. It was like, oh, they're investigating how shitty they are. No. They're investigating how to increase shareholder value, which is essentially, it's always going to end in the same place because these people have very simple minds and they always land on the same conclusion, is that we need to do layoffs. Layoffs will make us more profitable.
Yeah.
Full stop. And so this is basically the board being like, all right, what can we say to say, look, we're doing something before we, roll out a bunch of layoffs. And this is it. An investigation. Into greater efficiency while delighting players. I
did think of a way, and I don't want to give you my whole plan. I want to give you part 2 of part 3.
You have like a concept of a plan.
So here I have a concept of a plan. No, here's my thought.
A Bible.
Because they were saying delighting players, obviously my mind went sexual. I don't know if that's obvious to you guys, but that was obvious to me.
Obviously. You should have seen his eyes. They went wide.
I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. It was gross.
How can we make it faster and more pleasurable?
Right.
No. So here's what I thought. And I think we're 5 years away from this, JD. I'm dead serious. Ubisoft is the company who starts this.
Money out of our players faster.
No, yeah. Listen, you know how like every popular game has like a big popular subset of porn?
This is like what you're sticking on.
You buy the game. Ubisoft has their own group, their own guys who are putting their own artists into making the Rule 34. What's it called?
Dude, skip that. We don't need Rule 34. We just need a naked mode in every single Ubisoft game.
Dude, I'm telling you.
Full control over just the nudity in every game.
Like
you want to be running it around in the Division with your dick hanging out?
Yeah.
You can do that.
They control the porn variations of their characters.
No companies are doing this.
Dude, you could just you get into this lobby with all the porn stuff, all the images. We've even released some exclusive videos. That's how you get there. That's how you get there, JD. So that's my prediction. We are 5 years away from this because these guys really have not capitalized on the porn side of stuff. And Ubisoft is the company to do it. Yeah, the guys. Wow. French people will get on board with that, I think. Anyways, that was my thought of how to delight players.
This is like a small tangent. Peterson has figured out.
Sorry,
that's the conclusion to your investigation of how to.
I already got
delight players with greater efficiency.
You can have this one for free, Ubisoft.
I was thinking one of those like pocket pussies, but this one works too. This idea works too.
Just ship them. You could
just sell it as like a game accessory.
You can rent it. You got to send it back when you're done with it.
But it costs money. Either way, there's a subscription model for your dick pump. Ubisoft has also said that X Defiant has fallen behind expectations. X Defiant was the free-to-play first-person shooter that had characters from other Ubisoft titles, so they didn't have to actually do that part of the job of creating an actual game world. This came out of a trading call that Guillermo was on. So the other one was a financial statement. They're basically just out there just delivering bad news on every front. Like every single source that Ubisoft is talking to, they're like, shit is bad. They said the game didn't perform well, and it was last month, I think, at risk of losing post-launch support. And then in a blog post, this is my favorite part, a year one roadmap for XDefiant. This is a blog post, and I always love when you feel the need to say this. Quote, I just want to quickly address the status of the game, i.e., is the game dying? No, the game is absolutely not dying. You find yourself saying that about your game may be dying.
Yeah, if you have to address your game dying,
you feel the need to address that. Like,
yeah, we know where it's heading. We know where this is
game's
heading.
dying.
If your game is doing great, you don't even bring that up. That's not a thing.
So XDefiant, which is just kind of an easy, lazy win, also not working out for Ubisoft. Meanwhile, Assassin's Creed, what is it? Shadows? Is that what it's called?
Maybe.
Assassin's Creed Shadow has been delayed because Star Wars sucked so bad. And their stock price is continuing to dive. In fact,
what's Star Wars?
Ubisoft stock, it's back up above 10 euros, but it dipped below 10 euros for the first time since 2013. Man, if your stock is hitting an 11-year low, 11 years ago, 10 euros could actually buy you something. Like, it's meaningless now. Like,
yeah,
you're going back
you
below.
buy a meal at McDonald's.
Yeah, exactly. Like pre-pandemic, pre-hyperinflation period dollars, and you're still below that rate. That is a bad fucking sign. They said, this is Ubisoft posting on social media. We realize we need more time and more polish to refine the experience, pushing further some of our key features. So yeah, they also pulled Assassin's Creed out of its planned Tokyo Game Show live stream. That is a terrible sign. If you don't think you can even get together, like
you can't even show. So
exactly.
this makes me think, okay, because I talked about Star Wars a couple weeks ago or last week, 2 weeks ago, I think.
Yeah.
And the failings of Star Wars were really that I think it was the wrong type of game. Like they just did the wrong genre and they didn't do anything well. If they would have, and I was having this conversation with some of my friends, if they would have made Far Cry Star Wars or Assassin's Creed Star Wars, I'd be like,
easy.
Look, it's like a cheap win, but like that's fun. I want to play Far Cry Star Wars, right? I want to do that.
Absolutely.
But instead they try to go this like
I'd stay on the same fucking planet.
And like, yeah, I was like, it's such a bizarre choice. And so now it makes me worried about their new Assassin's Creed game because they were like, we're delaying it because we're learning lessons from our Star Wars game. And I was like, are they the same genre? Like,
they're not delaying it enough. It's only delayed till February next Valentine's Day.
What are they changing?
In 4 months? Nothing. Like there's no substantial changes they're going to be able to get out. If they said 6 months, 8 months, maybe a year, I'd be like, okay, this is going to be a really refined, shaped game. But no, they want this out Q1 of next year so they can start, goosing profits and shareholder value. Even though I don't think if it's not ready now, it's not going to be ready in February. I promise you that.
And like, it makes me think they tried to change too much about Assassin's Creed because Odyssey and Assassin's Creed Origins, like those were gigantic games, but they were
Assassin's Creed games.
Very good games. Everyone who played them was like, I love this game. This is exactly what I wanted. Did they deviate from that? Because they deviated in their Star Wars thing. So are they trying to do other stuff when really they just need to make, I think they hit the nail on the head with the last Assassin's Creed. They just need to kind of do that some more where they make a good Assassin's Creed game, make it 50 hours long, and then, not like 200 hours, make a 50-hour long game and just like bang that out. But instead, I worry what Ubisoft, I feel like they're so out of touch. And that's just from this last, I played this last Star Wars game and that's how I felt. And so, man, I don't know what they're doing, but they have the bones. like I said, these guys know how to make a beautiful game. They know how to make good combat and good movement. And Star Wars didn't have any of that, so I don't know what they're doing these days.
No one does. No one does, and the people that are dumping their stocks also don't really have any faith in it.
Yeah, they played Star Wars and they were like, "Yikes!" The best thing about this game is it looked like a beautiful Star Wars game. Like it looked good.
The last thing out of Ubisoft's no good, terrible, absolutely awful week was that Ubisoft workers are being urged to strike in October over the proposed return to office policy. This comes from the French union STJV, who called for a 3-day strike, asking for clarity on the company's return to work policy. They're saying they want all Ubisoft employees in France to strike from October 15th to 17th of this year.
What's the point of a 3-day strike?
Man, it's France.
What does that do? Like, and I'm being dead serious. Like, what is the impact that 3 days will have, especially if they're talking about it and like Ubisoft is able to plan for that? Like, that means nothing.
You know, I don't know, but for Ubisoft, especially Ubisoft France, that one of the Guillemot brothers walks out of his corner office and starts yelling, and there's no one there to yell at.
He's like,
He's
"Oh,
like,
where's everybody?"
Sacre bleu! He's so upset now.
Patrick said in the chat, and this comment made me laugh. And you know, if they want to strike events, they actually want to riot.
Yeah, dude, it's like a release valve. Like, let them strike for 3 days, or they're gonna start putting up fucking barriers in the street. You know how inconvenient it is every time they pull up the asphalt? Guys, just let them strike for 3 days.
Just
give them a baguette, cigarette, and some Nutella. They'll be good.
This could go south very quickly.
I don't know, dude. If you got Ubisoft stock, maybe short it.
Look, either this is a long-term position and you're like really hopeful that something can turn around, or yeah, you might be.
Or you're interested in owning a penny stock because you've always heard those are fun.
Newsflash, they are not.
Talking about Boeing? The devs behind The Day Before have resurrected and are demanding your change.
This is a business model.
These guys, if you remember from last year's Blursties,
yes,
major Blursty bait. I mean, they came in hot in like early December with this The Day Before game, which was essentially vaporware. Yeah, it was effing-tastic. Like fantastic without the first A. And they released a game that was supposed to be like an MMO, and it ended up being
nothing.
What it actually was essentially an extraction shooter, but because no one could actually play the game, that's questionable as well. People weren't able to get in the servers. If they did, they would reach game-breaking bugs within the first hour. And this game was flamed so hard online that effing-tastic as a company shuttered entirely only days after the release.
Like less than a week.
It wasn't like, oh, the game didn't go well and there was some, we tried to patch some things and there was some damage control, and a couple weeks later we had issued so many refunds that we were insolvent. It was just like, no, shut down shop, we're done. It was just like the most instant in and out Blursty bait you've ever seen. Well, these guys cannot be stopped. They've seen the writing on the wall. 2024 is the year of the grift. The year of our Lord.
Are in full force.
All we do is grift here, people. Like, if you're not grifting, if you're not selling like a Lunchables ripoff, if you're not selling like a $100,000 watch that is made out of like copper, you're not doing things right. I mean, we've got a Patreon. Everyone's got a grift, you guys. We've all got our own little thing. So effing-tastic has launched a new website with a Kickstarter. So their new website is kind of like mopey feeling. It's like kind of optimistic, but it also has like the self-sadness of like a children's book. Well, I don't know. Things could be better if this bee didn't sting me. So they launched a new website. This Kickstarter is supposed to, quote, help effing-tastic to return. who wants to help you guys return?
Yeah,
Did you have a fan base of the game? So the people that actually bought your game are going to hate you. The people that didn't buy your game laughed at you. Who wants you to return unless it's for like the memes? They have a $15,000 goal, which is very strange to me for anything. A, how does that help your studio return? B, it's just for a singular game called Escape Factory. How does that even enough to produce a single fucking game? Even as a
15,000?
solo developer living in like Kuala Lumpur, how the fuck is $15,000 getting you that far enough to build a game like this?
This feels honestly like somebody like the guys from Fantastic might not even know this exists. Like somebody opened this up, some guy in India,
grifter, dude.
and he's like, "Hey, come help us come back." And he did a Kickstarter, which honestly only has $2,000 so far, which is.
And
Like,
so
a
here's
lot
the
more
other
than I
funny
thought they
thing.
did.
Did you look at the game? Did you click play on this
No, I
Kickstarter
haven't
video?
clicked yet.
Because the game actually looks kind of funny. It's kind of like got a vibe of like Fall Guys,
Oh,
but
yeah.
it's cooperative. Is Fall Guys cooperative? Like
No.
there's 10 to 15 these little stupid physics guys that are flopping everywhere, but you're all actually trying to accomplish the same goal. And I was watching this and thinking, this is actually kind of funny. This is actually what they should have started with. Instead of this sweeping MMO that they tried to sell everyone, this game, Escape Factory, is fucking hilarious. This looks like something that I would play and like laugh at with a bunch of friends.
And honestly, this this seems like something that you don't try to do a Kickstarter for after you failed. Like this feels like you have to make this indie project.
You
and
make
launch
this,
it
put this on
your own.
Steam and let it speak for itself. Hopefully it gets on Next Fest or something, but yeah, I don't know what they're doing here. $15,000 seems pointless and weird.
Yeah.
I feel like this should have been a Riblets, but when we follow up on Blursties, especially Blursties like this, we got to go deep.
And you're right. Their website, because I'm on their website. Bro, I've never designed a website and I could do this. No question. It's nothing. There's nothing. It's just like some
it's just
blue
links.
boxes
It's just
with
links to stuff. Yeah. It's not great. Doesn't really speak to their like ability to make a game. They can barely make a fucking website.
I don't know. This is about on par with the effort they put into their last game. So
I hope Escape Factory is better. I hope it comes out. Maybe it won't. Riblets are like, it's like a rib, but way smaller and less satisfying.
You go to the store, there's like the big ribs, the huge ones, and then there's
beef
like
ribs.
Yeah, and then there's like the smaller ones, the spare ribs, like a little bit smaller. And then if you took
get into the chicken ribs,
like a third, yeah, this
not
honestly,
satisfying, short.
It feels like some sort of weird. This is those YouTube videos where they make the tiny food and they actually cook it and play.
I hate it.
Weird subset.
Hate it.
That I think.
This is that for news.
It's
for
that
video game news.
Yeah.
Duh. Did you guys not get that connection? Come on, try to keep up.
Get there.
We have to explain this to you every fucking week.
I don't understand why you guys aren't getting
sick of it. It's Riblets. Come on. It makes perfect sense. Horizon Zero Dawn doubled in price after the remaster was announced. This is fucking tight.
This is the stupidest. This is video game people, like the executives. It's
so Horizon Zero Dawn, the remaster was only going to cost you $10 if you previously owned it on PlayStation 4. I don't know if that's digital because I own the physical copy, so I don't know. Maybe I get the remaster for $10. Not that I care, but the game was being sold up until the announcement for $20 on the PlayStation Store.
It's an older game at this point. Like that makes sense.
But the second they made the announcement, the price went up to $40. So that you don't save. If you were thinking, oh, well, I'll just get it really quick and get it for the $20 and then $10 for the remaster, it'll be $30 for the remaster instead of $50, which is what they're actually selling it for. And so they did a little math.
The logic on this is so stupid. It's just so dumb.
I think it's crazy they're selling it for $50. I think that's the crazy thing. It's
bananas.
A fucking remaster.
Also, And remember how they're making the Lego version of this? It
Nothing.
comes out a week after the remaster. Like, what are they doing? What are the
Just
business?
cannibalizing their own fucking market.
I don't
Idiots.
understand.
Idiots.
Oh, I'm so honestly, and if it works on a physical copy, look, just go buy a physical copy on Facebook Marketplace. I guarantee you can get it for $10. I'll sell you mine for $10.
Yeah,
Like,
you released that's so fucking wild.
it's so
That
stupid.
is so wild.
That's why I put this in there. I saw this and I was like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. I hate these guys.
Tap one out for The Simpsons Tapped Out, which is closing. Guys, I mentioned it in the intro, but this is the latest Simpsons game to be released. This is a 12-year-old game, and it is the last Simpsons game they released. Before that, it was 2007, I think. How is this real that we are on 35 seasons of this show and we cannot get another fucking video game out the door? It is owned. The entirety of Walt Disney Pictures owning The Simpsons has been met with 0 new video games. It is insane to me that they didn't even sell the license to anyone. They haven't even bothered. Anyway, Tapped Out was a, I don't know, management kind of just a bubble popper kind of game. What is that called? What is that? Let's see what Wikipedia has to say.
What they call it
about Tapped Out. It is a freemium licensed city building mobile game. Yeah, it's like a city builder, but you don't actually maintain. It's not a city.
Yeah, you just like clicking on the stuff and like,
yeah, you just like buy things, buy
going
buildings, and buy characters who wander around your little town. Then you expand it. The game will be removed from app stores beginning on Halloween, and in-game purchases have already been disabled, so you can't buy anything in the game anymore. But everything you did buy, like we were just fucking talking about, is gone. And for 12 years, you might have spent a decent amount. You buy a $1 character here and there. You maybe spend like $20 on it a year over 12 years. Well, that's a multi-$100 product and a little town, and it's just gone.
What
if you're building a fucking model railroad in your basement over the course of 12 years and they stop making the parts for it, well, guess what? You still own the fucking model railroad. It's still there physically.
It still exists.
You can play with it. This is so shitty.
The other piece of this is kind of what you started with. I don't understand why they haven't made another Simpsons game. I understand not like milking this IP constantly for video games because it is like a cartoon show. But
no, the cow is just
we've talked about this
because no one's milking it.
There's a lot of potential in The Simpsons, and the other thing is they have had successful games in the past. Why aren't they like hitting that nostalgia button and like hitting people who loved Simpsons back in the day? I mean, and you don't have to make a really serious game. You can just make like a fun little Simpsons game, which is what they've all been.
References and like jokes and in jokes. No one will care. Just like South Park, just
make a pretty fun game. And like, yeah, I don't get it. 0 games though in 12 years seems crazy. And we predicted they would do one, and they haven't.
It's more like just like one game in 18 years. Like it's crazy enough that it's just one in I don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
12 years, 308 updates, 831 characters, 1,463 quest lines. Game will still be playable up until January 24th of next year, which is actually kind of fun. So you do have a window. You have a next month if you wanted to download it and play it a bunch until January, or
fun with
if you had an old time. I used to play this game back in the day. That's how my day started. I'd wake up in the morning and just check my little Simpsons town just like once a day. And then like before you go to bed, you just kind of make sure you tapped all your little bubbles.
You tap one out.
I don't know. That's so crazy. That's so much money you could have potentially spent. And our last riblet here is a JD sales report. Except for it's not really a sales report. Dome Keeper has, you put here, sold 1 million units. But in their blog post, they said they have had 1 million players.
Yeah, that's true. So it's
ish. They've sold close to 1 million, I imagine. I don't know how many of those players actually bought the game.
Well, probably a lot of them. I don't know.
Probably the vast
But
majority.
even then, like for a
Even then,
company
a
this
million
size,
players. Yeah, it's been out for 2 years.
Mhm.
And as far as I know, and maybe I'm talking out of my butt, feels like it kind of invented a genre of its own.
This is the genre, and like we kind of fell into it because JD played Dome Keeper, and he's like, "You got to play it." So I played it and loved it. Then we played, what was the other one?
Wall World.
Wall World, which was very similar. It felt like just a
Dome Keeper on the side on its
you know, like a
side.
different type of this, and so we played that, and now we're playing Drill Core, which also feels similar to this.
Look,
Um,
there have been a million tower defense games. Tower defense games that look like this. But the mining aspect of it, and I don't know why it works so well that you have to go mine in the day and defend at night. I don't know why that just clicks, but it does, and they've completely invented a genre. And I don't think here's my prediction is that we haven't had the game yet. This is going to be this game, whatever it is that follows this pattern, and maybe it'll be in 3D, who knows, but it's going to come out one of these days, and it's going to come out soon to a wider audience and really hit, and everyone's going to be like, oh my God, this is the best thing ever. And then you're going to see like, oh, you got to go play Wall World, you got to play Dome Keeper. These are like the original ones.
yeah.
And
I'm waiting for a multiplayer one, to be honest. Like, think about how fun that could be.
did you read this blog post that you linked here? Because
A
they
little,
mentioned
yeah,
that.
I did.
They mentioned that couch co-op is very much on the horizon. Multiplayer,
Mhm.
they said they basically have to recode the entire game,
Yeah.
and they don't really know how to approach that. But I do think that it's probably on their horizon. You know, this game has been out 2 years. They can only milk it for so long before they move on to something else. And if it's Dome Keeper 2, I would bet dollars to donuts they would incorporate multiplayer.
This did make me kind of want to play the game again because it's been a while since we played it.
So many updates.
I was watching it and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this looks very different." Like there's a lot of different stuff in here.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to play it again. This is the type of game you can jump right back into and be like, "Oh yeah, here we go," and just like have fun with
lost
it.
anytime.
But yeah, I honestly, this is good for them. I like this that even if they've sold 700,000 copies, the game sells for 15 to 17 or something like that.
They are
That's
millionaires now.
A lot of money.
And it's an indie game.
Good for them because this game does not look complicated. This isn't a game where they are, spending 400 million to make.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's what I love. These are the stories. We say this every time, but these are the stories that I love. So good job. Congrats. Kudos to
If you guys haven't checked it out, put
devs.
Dome Keeper on your wish list. It is a instant classic.
Absolute worth playing. Yeah.
Kudos. Kudos. Kudos.
All right, kudos is our positivity segment. We like to give shout outs to things we like. Peterson, what do you got for us here?
All right. I've done Jack in the Box before. I am a big fan. And for some reason, I've been to Jack in the Box like twice this week because we've been out, we've had a lot of like soccer stuff at weird hours. And so my kid's like, let's go Jack in the Box because there's one pretty close to us. And actually, there's about to be 3 really close to me. But if you have not had Jack in the Box recently, one thing is they do breakfast all day. You can get breakfast whenever you want. They've always had that. So, McDonald's, they've always beat McDonald's there. But I will say the best fast food breakfast sandwich that you can possibly buy at any fast food place is Jack in the Box loaded breakfast sandwich.
Okay.
It is. Okay, and I will give the caveat, I don't like the pancake ones, like with the sweet pancake buns, like that.
How dare you malign the McGriddle?
I know, I get it. There's a section of people who are obsessed
Nature's
with that.
finest sandwich.
They do have a version of that at Jack in the Box if you're interested. But this is the best breakfast sandwich, okay? It had the loaded breakfast sandwich. It's sourdough. I love the grilled sourdough buns. So like kind of crispy on the outside. And then it has 2 eggs with cheese in there. And their egg is not that McDonald's like rubbery egg. It feels like an egg. Like it's like an egg. There's like 2 eggs. and then it has sausage, bacon, and ham. This is a
Like a
big
triple
breakfast
stack.
sandwich, and it is legitimately delicious, you guys. If you like breakfast sandwiches, I don't even eat it for breakfast. Like I said, they have
I
it
was
all
gonna say,
day.
this sounds like something you eat for breakfast, so you go right back to bed.
Yeah,
You
so
need to take a very
and
long nap.
the last 2 times I've had it, it's been like late morning because we'd have like soccer stuff early. So we get and it's like 10:30, 10:40, and I'm like, it's too early for like a burger. But so then I go get this loaded breakfast sandwich. Guys, it's so good. Best fast food breakfast sandwich you can get on the market. If you can go to Jack in the Box and get this, just get it. You will not be disappointed. I promise you. It is very good.
Okay. I wish they'd get a Jack in the Box anywhere like in a normal
It's so weird because they are popping up
location.
everywhere by me. Literally,
Yeah.
there's 2 being built right now.
I'm sure
and
there's
they're
gonna be
a
3
mile
that
and
pop up.
and a half
Yeah.
from each other.
Yeah, they're I'm sure they're coming. I have a kudos, a quick one for a new show, not new, very old, but there's a number of seasons, and Jenna and I just discovered it. I believe we've been watching it on HBO. Is called Outrageous Pumpkins. This is the stupidest fucking name for what the show actually is, which is a pumpkin carving competition. And it's amazing. It's amazing. I like a good competition show, cooking competitions mostly, but this one is so funny because went from like the first episode being like, oh man, what is this all about? And we're 3 episodes in, we're watching and we're already experts. Like, oh, that's not a deep enough punch out. Judges are gonna hate
Oh my
that.
god!
Oh, they have no idea. They can't see the candles at all. Oh, your armature's showing? No, can't have that showing. Got to cover that up with kale or something, man. Oh, just amateur mistakes all over here. It's just so fun watching these different artists make just the wildest shit out of pumpkins. Jenna and I were laughing because I went to look. I was like, okay, if I'm gonna grow an Atlantic giant pumpkin, like one of those that gets like 500 pounds, I was like, what do I do? What do I do? And I look, dude, you know, I have the entire corn patch I have growing, and then I have a pepper garden, and I have a squash garden, and I have a tulip garden. It's my whole front yard. If I wanted to grow one giant pumpkin, I would need all of that land.
The whole space.
The whole fucking space.
I have a friend who does that for like a fun hobby, like
Yeah.
growing a giant
Yeah.
pumpkin. His whole backyard
Just
is
one
like a
pumpkin.
tent.
Yeah.
And then he's got like the whole water set up, and like it is
so
commitment.
fucking funny. And so they're carving these humongous pumpkins. That obviously people have put a lot of effort into growing, and it's cool because usually you see those at the state fair and you're like, oh, what a cool huge pumpkin, that's nice. Seeing someone carve one of those fuckers is amazing. It's so cool.
I will say I love the art competitions. Like, you remember when I got really into the tattoo one?
This is,
And
dude, you would love
it's
this.
the same type of thing. I just like
It's
to
the
see
same
what
deal.
they can make.
Yes. And they have a couple of them, the seasons have like a tattoo artist that's competing in it. Like,
Yeah.
they're all multimedia artists. None of
I
them
like
are
to
like,
see artists be creative. I guess
carve
that's the thing.
pumpkins year round. No,
Yeah.
they just, and they're so creative. And some of these they come up with are just amazing. And the production on the show is second to none.
Okay.
Like, they'll show these cute little sketches of each that's done in like the show's art style. This is my idea. The artist describes it. Then they show a sketch of it. And then they, you see the pumpkin try to get as close to the sketch as possible, essentially. It's awesome. Outrageous Pumpkins. Why isn't it called jack-o'-lanterns or just something like that? Like pumpkins? I get it. They're not all jack-o'-lanterns. Oh,
Yeah.
I guess that makes zero
But
sense.
Outrageous Pumpkins is kind of dumb. Yeah.
It's so stupid. And I think the show it's on Food Network, and it seems like one of those like late 2000s shows. Remember when Food Network was just throwing everything at the wall to see what was when Emerald was on it? Bam!
Yeah.
This is
Just
from
doing
that
stuff.
era, but there's like new stuff, and I think they're kind of just stuck with the fucking name now.
Yeah.
It's too bad. But Outrageous Pumpkins, I think it's on HBO, and it's perfect. It's in season. If you want something Halloweeny that's not,
Yeah, I was gonna
spooky.
say this is the time to start watching. If you got kids, right? This is a great show.
And honest to God, I would say, yeah, if you have a minor amount of artistic talent and you like carving pumpkins, this shit will give you ideas. Even if you're an amateur to like execute certain ideas, like you could do some of these things. It's really cool.
Here's the thing. We always carve pumpkins, and it's like a tradition. Like, we gotta carve pumpkins. Like, I love it. But also I hate it because I have 4 kids. And so what that means is I have to scoop out at least 4 pumpkins, and then I have to do half of the carving and at least 2 or 3 of them. And I'm like, so I'm just doing this act. I'm just carving pumpkins.
Yeah, you
and
gotta
like,
watch this show for research.
Rundown.
Rundown is this segment where we don't want to call this the rundown. It's just what we have. We need to come up with a new segment for when all we want to do is just gush about the new game we've been digging on.
All of the gush themed ones sounded gross, so we were really trying to. If you can come
Pervin
up
on a
with
dish, Pervin on a game. That's what we're doing here. Pervin a game.
I don't know. I don't know if I love perving.
Enthusiastically stalking a game.
Horny for games. What do we? I don't know what, but yeah, if you can come up with a good one that's a little bit less sexual, not like zero sexual, like it has to be a little bit, but
Ooh, Patrick here has a suggestion on our live stream about our big thing. I like that.
The next big thing, yeah, like wieners, right?
Yeah, the next big thing.
Ding. Yeah, I got it. Okay.
It is too late for this.
I know.
I'm getting so tired. So we're talking about obviously Drill Core, which we've been holding off. We've been edging for weeks.
See? Can we do something with edging?
Because we wanted to talk about how much we love Drill Core. And we wanted to play it a little bit more so we could give a better impression, I guess.
Yeah, like a really good, really deep
I think I played it for like 15. How long have I played this game for now?
Ooh, that's it. Amateur levels.
I will say, it says 52 hours. Okay.
Oh, that's what?
I'll tell you why.
You said 15 and then you ended at 52. Tell me you left it on for 3 days.
I left it on overnight because I was in the middle of a game. And but it's still probably around 25 hours.
Mine's 36.
Yeah, mine's probably less than 20. So 25 sounds about right. Like less than yours, but still pretty high because you have to play through a run. This is a roguelike kind of game, but there's no way to pause mid-run, which I'll just fast forward. This is my major, biggest, and one of the only nits I had about this game.
Yeah,
I considered the comparison I made was to FTL, Faster Than Light, which is another game that features runs that can go as long as 3 hours. And to not be able to pause in the middle of that's
a huge oversight. Yeah,
and the deeper you get into the game, the longer the runs become. And you can just sometimes you get on a run, you keep going, and you had one, you said, oh, I could have kept digging. And I had one where I was at like 450 meters.
I had to leave.
So I just could have kept going. And I was like, fuck, I just need a bail. And it was lame because I was having a lot of fun and my build was sick and I had to bail. So
let's describe the game.
Yeah, let's talk about the game. I'm so sorry. So that's the only nit I have. And that's why my playtime was so high. But this game is essentially the same concept as other games in this genre that we were discussing. So Wall World and Dome Keeper, in which during the day you go mine for resources, and in the at night you bring all your miners back because now the tunnels are spooky. And you need to fight off the monsters that are coming at you. Now, the weapons and the abilities you use to fight off the monsters, that's why you're collecting resources. You use those resources to upgrade, to buy new weapons, to buy new abilities or defenses.
It becomes like a tower defense at that point.
It's a tower defense game.
Super active. There are things you can do, but like you're not super active during that.
And usually in tower defense games, your currency is coming from the beasts or monsters you're killing in the defense, but in this it comes from the mines. That bifurcated game where it's mining and tower defense. I don't know why it just clicks. In this one, the unique take they've taken because Wall World put Dome Keeper on the side. Dome Keeper was just like a classic 2D tower defense, and the drill core is you're on a drilling platform that is going straight down into a planet, and on the sides of the
like the wall that you've made,
wall,
like this like hole that you've made in the ground.
where you're like putting like braces on the sides to hold the hole, and that's where your tower, your turrets
put your guns
are.
Yeah.
And then on top of the drill is where you build your buildings, like your barracks, where you can hire new guys, upgrade abilities, or even certain defensive and offensive items or buildings that you put on your actual drilling platform that then, fight off the monsters when they come. Ultimately, the goal is to drill to a certain depth and to launch the core of your drill core into the core of the planet, which then does something to the planet.
Like, I don't know what it does either.
It's got this this dystopian corpo futuristic genre feel that a ton of games have been taking recently.
Yeah, like you go work for this company and you're doing this for the company, and
like
they send you like
Shipbreaker and a lot of these games. Yeah, it's all about the
Lethal
company,
Company, that sort of thing. It feels the
evil
same.
corporation in space. Yeah.
Mhm.
The monsters, I think. So did I get it all? Did I get all the?
I mean, the basics of it. Yeah, at nighttime, the monsters kind of come down, and your turrets
come
will
down the
shoot them.
hole that you've dug.
And then as you get further down, like the monsters get different
Stronger.
and maybe a little bit tougher, a little bit stronger. And what they're doing is when they get to the bottom where your platform is, they start attacking. They shoot at your core.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're trying to destroy that. So you have a core health. And if that core health gets to 0, you lose. But you can launch the core during the day before that happens if you've reached the minimum depth.
Right.
Either way, you do what I do think is good is even if you lose a run, you do get some of those persistent resources that you can use to make upgrades to your platform, or you get more stuff. The other thing is before you start a round, you can select they call them qualifications, I think, but you can select like essentially missions that you're trying to do. It's like finish this round only using machine gun turrets, or like 10 machine gun turrets or something like that.
Or get to a certain depth.
And then if you do that, you have now unlocked another type of gun or weapon or something like that, or a building. There are buildings you can build that have daytime abilities and nighttime abilities. So like I said, during the nighttime when the tower defense portion is happening and the bugs are attacking you, there's active abilities you can do. So you can have like a machine gun at the bottom of your tower that you'll shoot, and it charges up periodically. There are buildings with passive abilities, like one that every now and then you get a resource. Every now and there's another one. Every now and then you get you can heal your core a little bit. And then the daytime starts, and you are not directly controlling your crew.
That's what I love about this game. I don't know why I loved it so much.
Yeah. You're just telling them where to go.
This is where I want you to mine. This is where I want you to go. This is and you can tell them the priority. This is the item I want you to prioritize.
Yes. Yeah. And actually a lot of that is unlocked. When you first start, you can't really tell them exactly what to prioritize. Like you can't tell them what to pick up, but you can tell them this one's priority, go attack, go break this block first, because there are enemies that will appear down below in the mine during the day. Like in the first mine, they'll show up and they break through the block, and you stop them by breaking the block before they can come out. And so you're watching that. So you are active. And I think that's it's a mix between of how active you are, but also like
it's more like an RTS.
Yeah.
That in that light, like you're just controlling where your guys go, but their AI
is doing their thing.
Do their thing. So you got the monsters that come down. I think the monsters, what I loved about the nighttime and the fighting was that the monsters were so instantly recognizable in their roles. Like, oh, this is the big bruiser monster. This is the monster that's going to be a suicide bomber. because you see a monster going down the drill, like the hole really fast, and he's got like a bulbous ass, and you're like, he's gonna go bomb my drill. Like the
Yeah.
very first one you see,
Immediately know that.
exactly what he's gonna do.
Yep.
So I thought that the design of the monsters and the creatures is awesome. I think even the design of the bricks, I don't know, and they all do this. I think Core Keeper, or is that what it was? Yeah, Core Keeper.
That's
No, what is
no,
it?
Core Keepers is a different game.
No,
You're
Dome
thinking of
Keeper.
Dome Keeper.
Dome Keeper and Wall World have and this game too. They all have done a wonderful job of, for some reason, you just know which bricks are easier to break and which bricks are stronger. I don't know.
Yep.
And this one continues that tradition. You know, oh, that brick's going to take my miners forever to get break through, so I'll do the softer brick. I love that.
There's a little bit of a learning curve in, I would say, in everything.
Mhm.
Like with the mining, like I would be like, why did my miners die? Because there's like a type of brick that will fall on them.
And it takes you a minute to know because you're monitoring
How they're
so
gonna
much
fall
going
and
on,
when,
and
and
then all of
like
a sudden 3 miners die, and you're like, what the fuck just happened?
when then you unlock the next place, and they work slightly differently. The bad guys come out differently. The things that fall down are slightly different, and so you gotta like learn that. But there's a learning curve, and I think JD and I did the same thing when we first started. You just start digging around any way you want, just like following the resources. But then you quickly realized, oh, if I just like strip
Dig
mine this
everything.
side first, and then I like keep them in the same region, because the one thing is the miners AI is kind of silly.
Stupid.
Like you'll mark all the blocks you want them to mine, and you'll mark some on the other side of the map, and they will just go to the other side of the map, and there's one you want them to mine right next to them. And so there's a little bit of that, but you quickly learn how to control that and how to make it work for you. And so, yeah,
It's like in any RTS when
Yeah,
you're having
you've
to
just-
deal with really
gotta pick
dumb.
it up.
You're micro. There's a little bit of micro involved. Sometimes there's a lot of micro involved, and it can definitely be frustrating. But I don't think that that's always necessarily due to the game. The frustration. I think the only other nit I had is something you kind of touched on, is that it's kind of lacking instruction. Like, so I saw that I unlocked the ability to warn my guys, like, stay away from this area. In the mine, there's like this like fire block that will just shoot flame, and for some reason this path that they always travel on goes through the flame. I don't know. I think I unlocked that ability, but there's no, you go into the pause menu, there's no controls. It doesn't tell you like, oh, this is the button you press to warn guys off. And then if I went through all the other like menus in the game, I couldn't figure it out. And I will say that's almost certainly both of my major nits in this game are due to the fact that it's early access. I was talking to Skylar, who was playing this, and was telling me that he thinks that he believes the developers said that they were going to work on the saving in the middle of a run thing.
Persistent state saves.
It's a quality of life thing that's such a basic thing. I think there's a few quality of life things, but for an early access game, this game fucking works. It works very well.
It's very good.
It's very fun. It's very good. It's super addictive.
I think, and actually, I think they've hinted at like if you look through the menus, a few other things to unlock. Like there are certain things that I can't, like I don't think you can even do yet or unlock, because they're like, it seems like there's other mining platforms you're going to be able to use, and it seems like there's a handful of other things like that. And so yeah, but right now, like you said, the game's in early access, but it's not like it feels empty. Like there's a lot, and I still have a ton of stuff to unlock, because you unlock by doing these qualifications, and you have to up the difficulty to like do new
and it gets harder. It really does get harder. And
every time you up the difficulty, you're like, okay, I got to figure this out, like how to make this happen, and what's the I wouldn't say there's like a solid meta. There are things that work better.
There's things you need to figure out.
Yeah.
And you can get away with making a lot of dumb decisions and doing a lot of things wrong in the lower difficulties, but there's just like such a smaller margin for error as you get harder and harder. But the game allows, it's got that, easy to learn, difficult to master thing. You're always like, oh, duh. Like you mentioned, like, oh, I can go through and like individually look for these small items, or I can, just mine out the whole thing. One that I noticed by watching Skylar stream, he was on our Discord streaming this game, and I noticed, this is such a stupid thing, obviously. When you start, you can build generally at the lowest level, you can build 3 turrets on one side and 2 on the other. Well, I was building my turrets at the lowest setting for both because I was like, oh, it's closest to my platform.
At the bottom.
But Skylar put his at the top, and I was like, well, duh. The tiny micro, adjustment there means that the guns being a slightly higher get to start shooting the monsters slightly sooner, and that you have that advantage because you're doing damage like half a second sooner to the monsters than you normally would. Now it sounds small, but as you get the difficulty up, having that extra,
Makes a
couple of
big
extra
deal.
monsters
Big
makes a big difference.
Yeah.
So those are the types of things which is awesome because this has reminded me a ton of FTL, which after hundreds of hours, I'm still finding things like that can slightly improve my game. And that this game has that already in spades, which is, I think, just excellent game design.
And one thing we didn't mention is that, I mean, while the runs feel very similar, like they do change a little bit because you don't start off with all of the same stuff. Because
You always have different
you
builds.
start off with your basics, but there's a block you can mine that unlocks choices. You get 3 choices of building that you can now access. And so as you're going, like your build changes, and there's not unlimited ones. You're not going to unlock all the buildings because as you get lower in the mine, you start to get those less and less. And so your turrets will slightly change, your build will slightly change, your active daytime and nighttime abilities will change. And usually there's some themes I try to go with, but I've had some where just finding those out has changed my meta because I'm like, oh, dude, that laser turret is great because it shoots so far. And like the drones turret that I've unlocked.
The drones and the laser and the like laser shield thing. Oh my gosh.
Yep. So like once you figure some of that out, you're like, oh, okay, here we go. And so I don't think I've mastered the game, and I still have some quote unquote metas to figure out. But yeah, this game is very well done for what it is. It's super fun. I would love, like I said, JD mentioned this. I don't think this is the end all version of this type of game. I think we are going to get
We're building to some
this type of
really
game.
fucking amazing. What would you call it? Because it's a tower defense meets a tower defense minor.
I think, yeah, I think RTS is a okay way to put it.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's like some sort of sim, some sort of
got a day-night
management
cycle. It's got with the selecting the items, a roguelike aspect to a roguelite aspect to it.
Yeah.
I'm so happy about this game. I'm so happy about this one.
What a great game. And didn't you play this in the Next Fest? Is that where we found it?
This is exactly, and I think we're going to find more. We're going to see more like this. They seem like, as you pointed out, they're kind of easy to develop, but everyone's unique twist on these is always good. And I feel like it's always pushing the genre forward. Because Wall World was awesome, and now I'm over Wall World, and I went back and played it, and I was like, yawn. I want what's new and fresh. Like this is constant. This genre is currently like in its infancy,
evolving,
and it's so cool to see it evolve.
And this is just another plug. If you're not doing Next Fest, like it's such a low commitment. There's no financial commitment. If you play a demo, and if you don't like it, you just bounce right out.
Steam knows what you like, and so Steam will kick you games that you're already into. That type of game,
and you can find some absolute gems that you would have never looked at. And this is one of them. I don't know if we would have really noticed this game, or if I would have really been into it. But man, this game is so good, and I love this genre. It's that micromanaging, but also like tower defense. I don't know. I'm into it. So
Drill Core, what is it?
Love this.
What is it selling for right now?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, we just bought it instantly. We were like,
yeah, I didn't even look at the price. Drill Core
$20
is currently $20. It'll probably
$20.
Be on sale. I think we got it on sale for like 15 or something.
Yep.
That's
a price I'd buy it for, to be honest.
I'd buy this.
Game. Like I said, I've already put 30 plus hours into it. Like,
dude, if I'm being totally honest, though, if you are not like a huge fan of this genre, I would wait for a sale. And I think that would have the advantage of a few of these quality of life improvements getting baked in. If you
Because they
waited,
will happen. They will
Yeah.
happen for sure.
yeah, wait 3 months on this. This game might be looking really sharp.
Yep.
So that's Drill Core. Check it out on Steam. I don't think it's anywhere else currently, but I think it will slap on the Nintendo Switch if it ever comes out for that.
Dice of Destiny.
All right, Dice of Destiny is this little game we play at the end of every episode. We roll a 6-sided dice to see who will be responsible for rolling the Dice of Destiny itself. A 20-sided dice with 20 different game genres assigned to it. Then we find a game in that genre, and then we roll we roll a 6-sided dice to see how much money we can spend. We find a game in that genre for that price. Pick it, play it, review it. A couple weeks ago, I rolled a $40 platformer, and I finally picked up Sonic Frontiers.
You did it finally.
I finally did it. It's been on my radar for a year now. This is the open world Sonic game that drew some comparisons to Breath of the Wild. And it was the first, I think, truly open world Sonic game. And their attempt at having huge open spaces for him to run around at in between his levels. And so I picked it up. I think it was like $23 or something. I'm such a fucking sucker, dude. I'm such a sap when it comes to Sonic games. They have such a soft spot in my heart.
Yes.
And this one was no exception. It is a game so rife with problems, and I had so many complaints about it. And at the end of the day, I'm sitting here telling you, I love this game. I love this game. I can't wait to finish this game. I can't wait to play it with my nephew. This is going in my pantheon of favorite Sonic games, up there with one of my favorite Sonic games ever. And it is got so many problems. There's so much shitty and
JD
wrong
says
about this game.
early on, I'm like, dude, how are you liking it? And he's like, this game is actively trying to get me to hate it. But I kept seeing him playing it, so
I'm made of stronger stuff.
Yeah.
And I can't be deterred from a Sonic game by you just making the Sonic game shitty. That's not enough for me. I will play your stupid Sonic game. So I'll just start by saying this game was very much influenced by Breath of the Wild. It's in every part of it, from the art style to the kind of the story, to the general direction. And the feel of the open world itself seems like it was influenced by Breath of the Wild and Breath of the Wild's most recent success, which is lame because this came out like 6-7 years after Breath of the Wild. So it's kind of a weird choice. But there's so you do a lot of combat. There is a lot of combat, but the combat is exclusively reserved. Not exclusively, but it's mostly reserved for the open world. So you run around this big open world. There's all sorts of crazy, I guess you wouldn't really call them puzzles. They're like Sonic puzzles.
Yeah.
Where you just kind of like go on a speedy circle, and then you hit a couple springs and you fly in the air and you get a couple rings. And there's collectibles that you can do doing that. Otherwise, you run around and you find levels and you play the levels, which feel like a traditional Sonic game, going so fast through a dedicated level where you collect rings and things. Some of the levels are actually really cool because they're 2D, but it's like this very much 3D art style and everything, but it's just locked in a 2D view. And then some of them are 2.5D, where you go, it's 2-dimension, and then you go deeper into the 2-dimension, like you end up traveling backward essentially into the background of the 2D game. Let's see. There are mini bosses in this world that are kind of fun, actually really fun. In fact, one of my favorite Sonic bosses I've ever fought, I was running around this big empty field, and there was something that was called a squid. It was kind of a robot looking monster, and it had a tail, like a flat tail behind it. once I had aggravated it, its tail got a little longer because it started going faster. And I realized I could jump on the tail. The tail was like a road, like a glowing road behind this thing. And I had to chase this thing on its own tail, going as fast as I fucking could. And get up to its head and then fight it there. And it was so cool because one of the things that this game does so well, more than almost any Sonic game I played, is you feel like the Sonic in the fucking movies and the
Like
anime.
so fast.
You are so fucking fast. You cover so much ground so quickly, and there's no like drop in or loading issues. You just scream around this open world with so much speed. And there's this ability that if you get 400 coins and you're running around the open world and you have 400 coins, you're going literally twice as fast as normal. Like it's hard to control sometimes, which is fine. I'm not complaining. Like that's what I want. I want to be so fast. I feel like I'm out of control sometimes because I'm Sonic. And that to that same end, the combat feels very much the same that you see Sonic but depicted in media. He's a speedster. It's like the Flash. He can just zip around so easy and just punch you in the face because he's 10,000 times faster than you. And when you fight these monsters, these big mini bosses in the world, or the large boss, the Titans that are at the end of each world, you feel like fucking Sonic. You feel like movie Sonic. To the point that one of my nits, and I'll just drop this in here, the game does feel a little too easy at times. I'm playing it on the medium difficulty. And I guess I could bump it up to hard, but I'm just like enjoying it. There are times where I'm like, God, this, like there will be a 45-second challenge just in the world. Like do this time challenge to get this currency. And you've got a 45-second timer and you can do it in 30. And it's not like you can do it in 15 seconds. You do it before you even hit 30. And so it's like, that's like way too fucking easy. Like I could have done this walking. I didn't even need to run. I can just like walk these challenges. So that's kind of lame. So you do all these. So this open world is filled with all these like random spinny, go fasty challenges, and it's all about collecting a certain currency. There's a lot of currencies in this game. There is a ton of fucking currencies. You have so you get these like awards. You pick these things up. You do all these spinny challenges, or you like hit the springs and you go flying through the air and you get like a little award looking thing. And you get enough of those and you can talk to these little characters throughout the game. So like Amy or Knuckles, and you have to, get enough to talk to them by doing these challenges. So you talk to characters, and the characters unlock Chaos Emeralds. And also you unlock levels by defeating the big monsters that I described, like the squid, to earn gears. Well, if you use gears, you can use those to unlock levels. And then if you do well enough in levels, you'll collect keys. And if you get enough keys, you can use those to buy the unlocked Chaos Emeralds that you unlocked by talking to the characters that you unlocked by collecting the awards. And don't forget, you can collect the Koroks, just like the exact same thing, like those cute little monsters or whatever they were in Legend of Zelda. You can collect what Sonic's version of Koroks is. And you can also collect skill points, because you got to collect skill points so you can upgrade your skills. You're collecting a lot of shit in this game. But the thing is it never, for me, it has never felt like too much, because you're running around so fast. And if there's no point, then I'm just running around really fast for no reason. But if I'm running around really fast, and if I get something, if I unlock something, then I'm like, oh yeah, fuck yeah, I'll just keep running around, just manically running around. Funny story. I was playing this game and Jenna came in, and it had this little, like in the lower right hand side of the UI, had a little, the quest pop-ups. It says, go talk to Amy. And so Jenna jokingly told me, well, hey, don't forget to go talk to Amy. And I was like, haha, yeah, okay, whatever. So I kept playing this game. And then I found I was in this world and I'd run out of things to do. I'd beaten every level. I'd finished every challenge. And I was like, oh shit, I got to go talk to Amy. So I went and talked to Amy, and I finished talking to her, and there was still nothing to do. And I was like, oh, I got to go talk to Amy again. Oh, I got to go talk to Amy.
Oh my gosh.
I was supposed to talk to Amy interspersed between all the shit I was doing. And she would have kind of guided me because the next location where she was standing would be next to the next level.
Yeah.
But because I was manically just like busting around the whole freaking the world, I couldn't stop. I was having so much fun, grinding on rails and jumping and going on these go fast platforms that I did everything on the level. And I just basically had to sit there and grind out all the cutscenes and keep talking to Amy for like 10 straight minutes because I hadn't,
You'd already done all the stuff,
which is to say that's what I think this game excels at is it's kind of a Breath of the Wild. They ripped off a lot of stuff from it, but they made it work as well as a Sonic open world game can work. This works that well. I don't know if it could work any better. I don't know if you could make it better. It doesn't really seem to match his whole thing, but it works. And I just loved running around, collecting currencies, doing all these things. The levels themselves are incredible. The levels are some of the best 3D Sonic levels I've ever done. They're satisfying. They feel super quick. They're punchy. They've got great little like mini. So there's like a time thing. You're trying to hit a certain time. You're trying to collect these 5. There's another collectible, of course, in the levels. You try to collect all the collectibles in that. There's one like unique challenge to each level, like finish the level with 30 coins or 50 coins or whatever. And each one of those unlocks a key. And that's you use those keys to get Chaos Emeralds. You use the Chaos Emeralds to level up to Supersonic. And once you're Supersonic, you can go fight the super huge bosses. And when you fight a Supersonic, when he turns yellow and he's like the Super Saiyan version of Sonic, dude, I've never felt more godlike playing a Sonic game. You literally beat one of these Titans and you burst through he's huge. He's like the size of Godzilla. And you as Sonic like burst through his fucking chest like Omni-Man in Invincible. Like,
yeah,
just like, you're fucking super. You fly around. You literally just fly around and just beat the shit out of him. And you're invincible. He doesn't even stand a chance. It's so fucking cool. So, let's see. I talked about the levels. The story, which I haven't mentioned yet because it doesn't fucking matter. There are some Sonic games where you know what's going on. Like Sonic Unleashed, you're like, oh, Sonic is like a werehog is what they call him, like a werewolf, but a hedgehog. And he's like cursed. You're like, okay, I get it. Sonic Adventure, Eggman, Dr. Robotnik has, employed some creepy creature and he's going to screw up the world with it. This one, dude, it was weird from the jump and it just kind of gotten weirder. Like you're in cyberspace and then like your friends get pulled into cyberspace and then you get sent to this world and they're still half in cyberspace, half in this world. And you're trying to free them and bring them into this world, which you ultimately want to escape entirely. It's out there and it doesn't make a lot of sense in the cutscenes, but hey, it's mysterious. Maybe that's what they're going for. Maybe they wanted it to feel, and because I will caveat this game, I think has 5 worlds. I'm about done with the second. I thought about playing it for another week, but I didn't think that my impression would change considerably, especially like, oh, the story turns out really satisfying. I'm going to love it. Because I loved it already. I love this game. I think it's fantastic. Now that I said all of that, I got some fucking nits. Know that I loved this game. Know that I did not regret the amount of money I spent on it. I think I would pay up to $40 and feel really happy about this game. But if I'd gotten it at full price, I also wouldn't have felt super bummed because it does feel like a full price title. Okay. And for me, it's a Sonic game and I put a ton of hours into it already. It was nostalgic. In fact, there's you have like a radio station in the same vein as like Grand Theft Auto where you can just change what song you're listening to and you can listen to some of the songs from older Sonic
games. Old stuff, yeah.
Like the old Sonic Adventure on the Sega Dreamcast. I'm like listening to the songs from that I haven't heard since I played that on the Sega Dreamcast, which is so cool to be playing Sonic running around, playing the games or listening to the same songs, listening to the last time I was playing Sonic running around when I was a kid. So that's really cool. All right, here's the fucking nits. The voice acting in this game is maybe the worst. No, it is without a doubt the worst voice acting I've ever heard in a Sonic game. I was gonna pull a clip. I'm sad I didn't. But when you run into Knuckles at first, and it is such a jarring comparison. I haven't even seen the new. Oh well, yeah. Didn't Sonic 2 have Knuckles in it? Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's Idris Elba, and it's
Idris
awesome.
Elba.
And then it's Ben Schwartz. Is that who plays Sonic?
I think so. Yeah.
And they're fantastic, and they're wonderful. And then there's the Sonic that you're used to hearing. This Sonic, guys, it sounds like me. It sounds like if I was just, and I wasn't trying to do a Sonic voice, and I was just doing a voice. I was just doing my voice. Like, come on, Knuckles. Come on, Tails. We've got to go collect these
That's
Chaos Emeralds to beat Dr. Robotnik. It's like the guy did no direction. He'd never seen a Sonic property. He wasn't trying to do a Sonic voice, and he wasn't really even doing a voice. He was just doing his voice. Same deal with Knuckles. Knuckles is terrible. Tails, terrible. Amy, which is like just be an annoying girl voice.
Uh-huh.
She isn't annoying. She's supposed to be this like annoying tag-along character that bugs Sonic all the time. She's not. She's just like a chick. She's just like some fucking chick.
Okay, I did just listen to some of Sonic's voice clips, and he sounds like this. I really need your help finding Tails. Like,
Yeah.
he sounds like a guy.
Just
And
like
he's
a
a
guy.
hedgehog. He's a
Yeah.
hedgehog. Like,
He's a hedgehog.
have a voice.
He's
like
a blue, super powered hedgehog cartoon.
Wow,
Ooh.
that is a
It's
weird
bad.
choice.
It's really bad. It's luckily not a big part of the game because it's only during when you have to grind through 50 talk to Amy cutscenes in a row. Otherwise, you don't really hear him very much, so it's not a big deal. But it's bad. And
Yeah,
those are the types of things where I'm like, I love this game, but I can say this is the worst Sonic voice I've ever heard. The tutorial on the first island. So the first island is like a tutorial island, and it is so invasive, so obnoxious that when I got the
hate it.
achievement for completing the tutorial, I went back and looked. Only 74% of the people that have purchased and played this game have completed this first island
Wow.
because it is that fucking annoying. I mean, you are talking pop-ups after pop-ups. You will run 10 feet and a new thing pops up and it's like, did you know this? And you cannot turn them off. There's no way to toggle them off. And if you do anything, you jump twice. It's like, oh, you just did a double jump. Did you know? Da-da-da. And it's like, it's not just like a press B to close quickly. It's slow, which is another one of my nits, is that the UI is fucking terrible. Think about a menu, any menu in any video game you've ever seen that has tabs on the top. And you either have, you can either use the bumpers on your controller or you can just click on the tabs.
Yeah.
Well, on this one, you have to scroll left or right on the tabs. And instead of when you get on the tab, you want to go down, you just click the down button to go, observe the items on that tab. You have to click on the tab before you can use it. And there is a fucking delay. When you go to exit the game and you want it like it says, go back to, exit game or whatever, there's cancel and then, quit. Well, it lags. So like if you
That's
just
so funny.
click, you're trying to click over and then click A, well, the over won't happen, but the A will be registered and then it'll just cancel it out. These are tiny things, but the game's been out for a year and they never fixed it. So I feel like it's just like baked in that their UI is fucking terrible. Oh man, it almost got me. That was where I almost hit my limit on the helper island, the tutorial island. Dude, I'm telling you, I was like, if the whole game is like this, I'm not gonna make it. You couldn't stop it. You could not stop the pop-ups, and they interrupted the whole flow of the game, and especially when you're playing as Sonic and you're going so screaming fast, and then it is just stopped in the middle of the air, or you're flying or you're running, and it's just full stop with an overlay, a big screen overlay. That's stupid. Some things are way over explained, obviously. Some things are way under explained. So they have this huge tutorial and it tells you fucking everything, but then it doesn't tell you some other things. So there's like in between, there's a loading screen. So this game has loading screens in between levels, and in between in the loading screen, you can actually play or practice your moves. And it's this like mini game where it's like, okay, press, do this combo. It lets you practice combos. The very first time I run into this loading screen, it did not explain that to me. I just tried to start a level, and I'm in this like kind of like in the Matrix where they go into the white area to like practice.
Yeah.
That's like what it feels like. The big,
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
a
I
big, it's
saw
like
that
a
in
hollow
the
deck.
video.
Well, I just thought it just wanted me to do a ton of these. I ended up doing these fucking practice because you go through. It's like, do this combo. You do the combo, it pulls up another one. Do this combo. You do that combo, pulls up another one. Friends, I'm telling you, I did this for like 5-10 minutes before I was like, okay, how many of these do I need to do?
Do I have to keep doing them?
And I was like, okay, just exit this. And then I started the next level. I was like, okay, cool. And then I went through the level, and then another loading screen hit. And I was like, oh, and that's when it clicked. This is the loading screen. I'm playing a mini game in the loading screen, but it never explained to me like, oh, it's this nice, cool feature we have where you get because the UI again hides the fact that I'm in a fucking loading screen at all. I thought they just, before I did my first level, they were showing me more tutorials because it's endless fucking tutorials. There's this other thing where randomly, a bunch of star showers will like a star shower, like a meteor shower happens, and all these things fall to Earth. And you can just run around and collect them. And then there's a slot machine running above at the top of your screen. I don't know what any of this is. I don't know. Like I go run around and pick up the stars or the meteors that have fallen. Nothing happens. It doesn't affect the slot machine. It's not like, oh, go get all the ones of this certain color. Like, I don't know. I have no idea what it is. It's never been explained to me. So there are things in this game that they just never addressed, and they just happen. There is apparently fishing in the game. I found like a thing that's like, oh, you can do this fishing. It's locked or whatever. Never explained. Never explained how to fish or where I can go to do fishing.
What are you
But
fishing
apparently
for?
it's a fairly big part of the game. Like you get all sorts of unlockables and more collectible items from fishing.
Oh my god.
I don't know how to do it. I don't know where to go to do it. And I assumed one of these, myriad tutorials would cover it, but they fucking didn't. So the game is so strange to me in this regard that it can be the actual like playing as Sonic, running around, going fast, fighting monsters is second to none. And everything else is terrible. I mean, fucking god awful terrible. The cutscenes are terrible because they have the voice acting, but the cutscenes are stupid because they're part of the story that doesn't make any fucking sense. Oh, Dr. Robotnik's voice is terrible too. It is across the board. There's no good voices. And it's even more jarring having seen the movie when you have all stars like Idris Elba and Jim Carrey, real heavy hitters
who have like nailed their
and they nail these fucking characters that are already iconic. Like no one's saying, oh, Jack Black, like he redefined Bowser. That's who I always hear as Bowser. But people are going to hear fucking Idris Elba as Knuckles forever.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
That's just who he is now.
Well, and like there's a ton of good voice actors out there who could like do a great job. You know what I mean?
Anyone could do a good Sonic. Like,
yeah.
If I was pushed, I could probably do better than this Sonic.
This Sonic is not good. It's weird. It's a weird choice.
I think Sonic should probably, I don't know if he traditionally is. I feel like it should be voiced by like a woman.
Well, like he's traditionally been like a teenager type of character,
like a teenage boy. So you get a woman.
This one sounds like a 35-year-old guy.
Yes,
he really does. Yeah. Oh man, we gotta go get. It sounds like a 35-year-old doing an anime voice. That's what it sounds like, and it's
tough.
It's weird. It doesn't fit Sonic, what you've ever seen before.
But yeah, I mean, so you're seeing right here those little guys, those are the little Koroks you collect.
Yeah,
and it's cute because if you collect it before you turn them in, because you turn them in to get another thing to unlock something, but before you've turned them in, anytime you stop and you idle on the screen for more than a couple of seconds, they just appear. Your whole collection of Koroks appears and they just dance around you, and it's cute. Gosh. And so like there are cute little things like that they did right. But I'm also like, what do these guys do? This doesn't really add anything, and it doesn't feel like Sonic, certainly. The combat feels like Sonic. The combat's it's the best combat I feel like that they've ever gotten in a Sonic game, where you feel like, because I watched like the Sonic cartoons as a kid and as an adult. I love the new movies they've got. I just like Sonic media, and this one I've never felt more like Sonic is portrayed in like films and TVs, and it was fantastic. But yeah, it's a deeply, deeply flawed game. Hard for me to recommend if you're not like, because I'm so in this. I'm so neck deep in Sonic love. I don't even know. It could be way worse than I'm saying. But it honestly, based on the
looks
reviews,
like at its core, like a pretty fun game if you want to run around and zip around and like do these little things.
Yeah.
I
feel like the reviews were spot on because we saw the reviews. They were like, yeah, it's pretty solid.
Yeah.
But it's got problems.
Yeah.
And that's
it seems
exactly
like
how
they
I feel.
got in their own way a little bit with a bunch of things. Like they should have focused more on just making this a fun game and like doing the fun stuff they did right. But they did so many other things, it seems like.
They got in their own way because the voice acting stuff is like, whatever, fuck it. It has no impact.
Stupid decision, but you get past that.
No impact on the game whatsoever. And I wouldn't, if that was the only bad thing, I would, and there was like everything else is dialed in. Yeah, I'd give this a 10 out of 10, even with shitty voice acting. Like that does not matter to me. I want to be clear on that.
Right.
It's just like one good example of how this game just got in its own way, as you put it, which is a perfect way to put it. So yeah, Sonic Frontiers is, I think, permanently $40 or something.
Probably.
And it goes on sale I know because I watched it for 1 year, and it goes on sale with every single Steam sale, sometimes for very deep discounts. If you, like me, are a huge Sonic mark and you just cannot get enough of the stupid blue hedgehog, if you have played 3D Sonic games in the past and been like, yeah, these are pretty good, this is a must. It really is a must. It's the most fun I've had playing 3D Sonic since Sonic Adventure on the Sega Dreamcast. It's one of my favorite Sonic games ever.
Good.
I hated so much of it. I don't know. To love Sonic is to hate oneself, I think, ultimately. Yeah, it's just who I am. So I would say wait for a sale, because it will come. Wait for a sale. This one isn't going anywhere. It's not going to get any better. Oh, what the fuck? I forgot to mention this. This is talking the onboarding experience. So you boot up. Oh, I wish I'd recorded it. There are so many basically every pop-up update that they have had for the last year as they updated it. Instead of just showing you the most recent one, they show you all of them. Hey, gang, like here, we just added this Halloween update. Hey, gang, we added this. So you have to mash like A through like 50 fucking pop-ups.
What?
Right at the start of the game. You can't just like exit out of the whole dialogue. You just have to sit there, and every news pop-up that this game has ever had, you have to look at. And then on top of that, you get to choose your layout. You get to choose because I guess in one of these things was like the Sonic birthday celebration, because Sonic was like, I don't know, like 30, 40 years old or whatever the fuck. And you could have Sonic wearing a birthday hat and you could have birthday music. And I was like, no, I fucking don't want that. Guess what? I start the tutorial and it's birthday music. And Sonic, through all the dramatic shit that's happening in the intro, is wearing a stupid fucking party hat on the side of his head. And I had to go through a significant chunk of the tutorial island with the fucking birthday hat. Is like the game was mocking me because I couldn't change it. In fact, the tutorial island, you can't even access the save menu or any of the other menus until you go through it. So I couldn't turn off the fucking birthday Sonic. I couldn't even exit and know that my game was going to be saved. It was. I just turned it off. I just like Control Alt deleted, like Alt F4 the game, because I wasn't going to beat the tutorial item in one go because I had somewhere to be. And that's dude,
so funny.
It was awful. And I was just like, this game just wants me to hate it. But joke's on you. I loved this stupid fucking game. All right, let's do another one.
Right.
Let's
roll.
Let's get our next game out here. I'll pull out the why don't you roll to see who's going to...
I've got dice. I got one right
what
here.
Do you got?
A 6-sided. I'll take evens, you take odds.
Alrighty, let's do it.
Okay. It's a deuce. So I'm up.
All right, well, roll your 20.
All right, I'm gonna use the big heavy metal one today.
That's gonna be a good one.
This is a 16.
That is an RTS, real-time strategy.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Real-time strategy is off, and early access is back on deck.
Okay. There's a few RTSs out there that might be okay.
Ah,
And then price. Here we go. Price. Son of a ball sack.
2.
A 1.
So $15 or less.
Okay, this is gonna be rough. Okay, a $15 RTS.
All right, well,
Guys,
that'll be
I'm gonna
fun.
be
You're gonna have to
digging
get an
deep
RTS
for
from like
this bad boy.
2009. You're
We
gonna have
are.
to find an old one.
I might have to see how I can cheat and do like a Game Pass one or something.
You're definitely gonna have to cheat.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay. Well, I did. Let's see. I don't even know if this game is an RTS, but yeah, I did just download one. So, and it might be. Oh gosh. Okay. We'll see.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, that's it for this sode. Thanks to Patrick for jumping on our lives chat. Gave us a great name for that segment. Pals examining nifty interests sensibly. I think that's.
He was.
I mean, it's easy to say.
Yeah.
It makes sense. I think
Mhm.
it's definitely a front runner for the segment name. I like it a lot.
Yeah. If you can
Pals
think of other ones,
examining
guys, let me
nifty
know.
interests sensibly. Yeah, no, I see no problem with that. That one's solid. All right.
I'm not gonna make a sound bit. I can't make a song saying that though.
Yeah, I can't say that 10 times fast. Can't even say it twice fast. Play us out. We've got some music from our beloved Drill Corps.
Oh, and I actually have this one in here.
You can actually hear it. We'll listen along with you. Yeah, if you're watching on YouTube, you actually get to hear the music this time. All right. JD, logging off.
And this is Peterson going AFK.
Such good elevator music.
Yeah, it's like elevator music, like company on hold music.
Inoffensive.
Okay.